What is up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the Moments Podcast. You guys still can't process we're making a podcast, but here I am saying it again. I am so thankful for you. I am so excited. I feel like it's been weeks since I recorded the last episode. It was literally like 5 days ago, but the last 72 hours of my life has felt like an actual 10 years. I'm doing a whole episode on what I've gone through the past couple of days, but you guys really, I don't even know. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Let me tell you that. But I'm happy to be back and sitting down. I'm recording in the car again, except this time I'm in the middle of Arizona. My mom's here. We have a special guest. We're about to get into some really fun stuff. But before I do that, if you haven't listened to episode 1 and 2, go ahead and do that. I also just made a TikTok for this podcast where I'm also going to be posting recorded clips. Like if you guys want to see this filmed, then head over to TikTok. I might get it to YouTube soon, but we're not quite there yet, and I'll get there. And you know the drill. If you don't follow the Instagram already, go do that. But let me tell you guys what this episode is going to be all about. I've been so excited to record this episode. I'm a little bit nervous now that it's happening, but I asked you guys on my Instagram story, what are questions that you're scared to ask your mom, but really want to have the answers to? And you guys gave me some good questions. And I'm just as scared to ask my mom. Except I have to do it now because I said I was going to do it. But I am super excited that my mom gets to be the first person that I get to have on the podcast because she is my ultimate best friend, my rock, the reason I'm making this podcast, and my travel buddy, which is why she's with me in the middle of Arizona, in the middle of who knows. But I'm really putting her in the hot seat, so let me just go ahead and introduce my mom, Jamie. It's so weird saying Jamie, but here she is.
Hey guys.
What's up?
What's up?
We're nervous. Very nervous.
Yeah,
One, because you guys know I don't like to talk in front of people. I don't even let my family watch my YouTube videos. So to have to be recording, filming, doing all of this with her, asking scary questions all at the same time, it's gonna be a little awkward, but we're learning, okay? It's a learning process. And I got my nervousness of talking in front of people from my mom.
So yeah, I get really nervous talking in front of people. Even my own daughter, which sounds so weird.
Yeah, and it's weird for me to not even be able to talk about these things in front of my mom, except I post them for the internet to see, and I record a podcast every week. But I don't know. I mean, we all have our weird things, and I think that that's definitely one of ours that we share. So, cheers to overcoming our fears.
Yes.
Did that rhyme? That kind of rhymed.
It kind of did.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
I never imagined being in the hot seat in front of Burlington Coat Factory.
Yeah, well, you guys, I'm gonna spill the beans. I was supposed to be in a van. We were supposed to be in a van. I was supposed to buy a van. I bought a van. We had some issues. No more van. I want to do a whole episode talking about this just because it's been a really emotional roller coaster and it's been a really hard thing to process. But that's kind of the basis of it. My dream got a little bit crushed. I know that I'm in the happening and I know that I'll find the reason soon. But you know what? We still get to be on this trip. We still get to do a road trip. We ended up renting a car and we're driving to Texas. But soon enough, I'll be able to take you guys through that whole entire story. I have footage of everything that's going to be painful to watch, but I do want to share it with you guys. I just need you to give me some grace, some patience. I'm handling a lot of emotions when it comes to this van, so I promise it's coming soon. And that's not what you guys are here to listen to anyways. You guys want to hear me ask my mom really embarrassing questions about things like, I can't even say I'm so immature, you guys. I can't even say the S word. Like, I literally can't even say, oh no! Guys, this is going to be fun. But we're going to start out with some easier questions because I need some time for myself to get used to this. And I think that my mom does too.
Yeah, I need to warm up a little bit.
We definitely need a warm-up round.
For sure.
So, a lot of you guys know, if you did listen to the first episode, that I had a really hard time in middle school, in college, and then in Hawaii too. I've had a lot of rough patches, and I think that as I've gotten older, it's gotten easier for my mom to see when I'm going through stuff and all that. But it's been such a learning process, and I think it's such an interesting thing to compare what my relationship was with my mom when I first was going through like a bad mental state compared to what it is with my mom now. Like when I was in 7th grade and I was really going through it, I don't necessarily think we had a good relationship. Like I think I was mad at you every time you tried to help me.
Always.
Like
You always got mad at me.
we just fought all the time. And I think that it was just a simple lack of communication. It was I didn't know how to process my feelings. You didn't understand what I was feeling, so we just took things out on each other.
Yeah.
Right? And
No, we did. Yeah.
And I think that the one thing I've really learned just growing up is that you have to communicate things, because if I don't communicate it, you can't read my mind.
No.
Like just because she's your mom and she's your family and you guys are connected, she still can't read your mind. You know?
Yeah, and I remember you would like ask for help, and then when I would try to help you, you would be like, "What are you doing?" Like, no, I don't want that answer.
I never wanted to trust my mom. And honestly, we still get in the same kind of arguments, but I just think we've navigated it a little bit more. Like now I know she's right, but I still choose to kind of not listen, versus when I was younger and this was happening, I thought she was so wrong, and I did not want to listen to anything that my mom had to say. And I think that that's a phase that we all go through. I mean, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I know that all of my friends in middle school just went through a phase where they're like, my mom is so annoying. She says I can't do this. She won't let me hang out with blah, 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 and she won't let me do this. And it sucked, but we grow past it. I mean, we get out of that phase.
We all go through that. I did the same thing with my mom.
Yeah, like I remember
like
my
our
mom
moms are
tells
stupid.
me,
Like they're dumb.
yeah, my mom used to tell me in high school, not when she was in high school. She tells me about stories from when she was in high school where her and her mom would get in fights because didn't she wear like blue nail polish one time?
Yes.
And you got in like so much trouble.
Like so much trouble. She told me to go in the store and get new nail polish because we were going on a trip. So I went in the store and I bought purple nail polish instead of blue.
Mom, that is so rebellious of you.
Well, she just didn't like blue, but what's wrong with purple? So
wait, she seriously just didn't like blue?
Well, I don't know. I was being a smart aleck. So I went in and I bought purple and I took it off and I painted my nails in the back seat on the way to St. Augustine, and we got there and she looked down at my nails and it was purple, which I guess was even worse than blue to her, and I got in so much trouble. Like I was a rebel.
Anyways, that might be kind of a pointless and lame story, but moral of the story is we fight with our moms all the time, and that's totally normal. And I also just want to say, like, if you guys are struggling with anything on your relationship with your mom or wherever you're at, I just want you to know that my mom is your mom and we're here for you. And if any of you guys ever need anything, both of our DMs are open. She's your mom today, and we're about to get into it. Okay, so you guys asked me a bunch of questions, and I think like one of the first things that I want to ask you, just because I mean this is a question that I've always had too, when I am going through like a hard place and I'm in a bad spot, like what's going through your mind when you can just kind of see me going downhill, but I won't listen to you and I won't do anything?
Well, so I guess that would have changed. Do you mean like when you were in middle school, or do you mean like now? Because I feel
both.
like
Give me both scenarios.
Like I remember when you were in middle school and you would literally text me every single day, all day long, and I would always think there was like something wrong with her. We went through every doctor, and then I got to the point where I was just like shutting down and realized I just had to like let you go through it and kind of like let you suffer a little bit to grow. Does that sound mean?
You gotta suffer. You gotta go through the pain. No, you're right.
But I mean, you sometimes just have to like get through it. Like I couldn't, like I just sat there all the time with the messages all day at work, and I remember just being so sick to my stomach. But then when it's every day all day, you kind of get numb to it. So that's when kind of like I felt like after we went to every doctor and we did everything we could, like I knew you weren't gonna die and you just had to find your way through it.
No, you guys, if you listen to the first episode, I told you that when I was going through like really, really bad anxiety and depression in middle school, more anxiety than depression, but I thought I was dying of an internal illness because my stomach hurt every single day. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't know that could have a physical effect on me. And I would text my mom, be like, Mom, I'm so sick. We need to go to the doctor. We need to do acupuncture. I don't even know. We tried everything. Yeah, but I feel like as a mom, being at the age that you're at, not to like, call you old or anything, but you've gone through your own phases where you've gone through the happening, you found the reason. Like, did you realize that was going to happen for me, and that's kind of why you were just like, I just have to let her go through it?
Yes, after we went through like all of the tests and I knew you were going to be okay, I just knew from experience I had to let you go through it.
And did you think that I was actually dying too, or did you know I was just like anxious? Like, did you think I was making it up when I texted you that I felt sick all the time?
No, I didn't think you were making it up.
You just thought I was a little bit dramatic.
You were a little bit dramatic, but but that is also the age. But I also kind of felt like, what is going on at school? Like, what's making her like this? But I would ask you, like, is there a friend that's bothering you? Is
And
somebody
I wouldn't
being
tell
mean
her
to
anything.
you?
Like, I was full on being bullied, like, in the movies, and I wouldn't say those things. Like, I would briefly mention to her something every once in a while, but I don't know. I didn't want to tell you that people didn't like me and were being mean to me. Like, I didn't want to, I think it was like I don't want to let you down thing. So I wanted it to seem like I just had this perfect life, I guess. But it all goes back to the fact that I just didn't communicate anything. So it makes it hard for you as a mom to actually understand what I'm going through and, like, know the right ways to comfort me. Because if you knew it was anxiety, it might have been like a different route of comforting versus if I just kept acting like I really just was sick and didn't feel good.
Yeah, it would have been completely different. We would have taken a whole nother course. Like, if I knew that, like, people were bothering you or you were being bullied or, you know, anything like that, I did know it was anxiety. Once we went through everything and I knew it wasn't anything else, I knew it was anxiety. And there's, like, only so much you can do to get somebody out of that.
I get it from my mama.
Yeah, you're just like me.
Yeah, we're both a little anxious recording this, if you can't tell, but I think we'll loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
So I think really the moral of the story with that question in this situation is just you can't expect what you don't communicate. So if you are going through something and you feel like you're at a really tough point, talk to people. Talk to your mom, just like I've said in all the other episodes. But, like, if someone doesn't understand what you're going through and you don't tell them, they're not going to be able to read your mind, and you're just going to kind of...
And if it's not your mom that you can talk to, like, find somebody else. I think times are so different now. Like it's okay to talk about your anxiety. Like, when we were younger, like, people didn't talk about this kind of stuff. They didn't communicate it. Like, even when you were younger, I mean,
yeah,
like,
I mean, it is so much more awesome that mental health is more talked about, and there's so many people that you can talk to. I mean, text your friends. Just be aware of how you're feeling instead of trying to, like, keep things in.
Just be honest. Like, get it out. It's so much better if you talk about it.
Okay, another question. I'm gonna mix in a little spicy question because we just got really, we just got really deep. So a lot of people asked, like, do you know when your kids are lying? Because she's got 3 of us. I have 2 little brothers. So do you know when we're lying? Because, I mean, I know things that, like, Colby does that I don't know if you know. Like, how good are your mom senses?
Oh, I totally know when you're lying to me.
Really?
Like,
how do you know? Just so I can give the girls some tips if they do need to lie, how to do it. I'm just kidding. Guys, do not lie.
Do not lie.
Anyways.
Be honest. And you know what? I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Like, I feel like you guys don't lie to me that often. Do you lie?
I don't lie anymore, but I used to lie in middle school just about stupid stuff. But you guys knew that. You and Dad would always think I was a little liar. I always told white lies.
Yeah.
But I don't lie so much anymore.
No, because you don't have a reason to. But the thing is when you would lie, yes, you would. You would lie quite often, but I would choose my battles with which ones I called you out on. Like,
okay.
I would push a lot of them under the rug because I didn't want you to know how much I knew you, how well I could read you. So I would just wait till it was, like, really bad where I had to take it up with you. But the rest of it was, like, silly nonsense stuff. And I just wanted you to kind of, like, be you, and I wanted to see how far you would push it.
Okay, fair.
Is that weird?
No, I mean, I feel like that's reasonable, and it's fair. And it's also because I think you wanted to build up a trust with me where eventually I would tell you the things I was lying about. And if you were, like, calling me out on all my lies, I feel like I would have only kept doing it.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I didn't lie about anything crazy. I was a good kid. I really didn't do too much.
It was, like, silly stuff. That's what I never understood. It was, like, the dumbest, silliest
I just did it for, maybe I did it for, like, the adrenaline rush, like, to just, like, to keep myself on the edge of my seat. Like, I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. But anyways, I guess it's true that moms do have that sense, and they know exactly when you're lying. So whoever put that question in, maybe stop lying? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because your mom knows you best, or your parents, know you best, and
I mean, they did raise you.
Yeah.
They taught you all of our techniques that we use we learn from our parents. So I guess it really does make sense that they have like that you guys have that sense of just,
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly what you're doing, when you're doing, what you're doing at all times. That being said, another question that people asked a lot is like, why are parents so strict? Like, why, what is it that makes you guys not let us do the things that other kids our age are allowed to do? I mean, like, I know with me, all my friends were going to high school parties before I was allowed to go to high school parties. So in your eyes, why? Why can't I do what everyone else my age is doing?
Because we want to, like, keep you in a bubble. It's like, it's something that you, like, don't understand until you have children. Like, it's such a scary world out there. And so, yeah, I wanted to, like, always keep you in that bubble. And I know there was a lot of kids out there, like, going to parties and doing all these things. But, like, I wanted to keep you safe.
You just wanted to protect me. I was your little baby.
It's like, I just wanted to keep your, like, mind innocent. And I had a crazy, like, high school and went to a lot of parties.
Yeah, she was absolutely wild. And I just don't think she wanted me to be as crazy as her.
I didn't want you to. Like, anything that, like, I went through in my life, I wanted to protect you from.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't imagine, like, having a kid, raising them, and then having to, like, watch them go to parties and go to college and go do all of that stuff. And, I mean, to be fair, I think that you guys were extra strict just because I was your first kid. Because I'm a girl. Like, literally my little brother, you guys, he's 16, and he can do whatever he wants, and he gets away with everything. So I just like to think it's because I'm your favorite.
Because you're my favorite.
No.
You are my favorite daughter.
I just got so excited. I'm your only daughter, Mom.
I know, so you're my favorite.
I mean, that was...
Like, I wish you could have seen your face. You, like, lit up.
Okay, you know what? Next question. That hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so, honestly, I don't know if someone asked this question or it was more just something I wrote down because it was a question that I've always had, but what are characteristics that you look for in my friends? Like, what kind of friends do you want me to bring home?
I mean, I've always had to just go with my gut instincts. Like, a mom just always knows. Like, you would bring some friends home and I would know instantly, like...
Oh, she knows exactly what's going to happen with every single friend that I ever talk about. I mean, she has not once been wrong. It's literally like a superpower. She can tell me what the exact situation is going to be months before it even happens.
It really is crazy.
Moms
Thinking back.
Like, it blows my mind. Yeah, but really, I guess you want me to bring home friends who are always, like, supporting me, looking out for me, like, want me to, I don't know, you just kind of, like, you just trust it. You
can
trust
tell when a friend is, like, your friend and really cares about what you're doing and is engaged with the family and, like, comes in the house and has conversation and looks you in the eyes. There's, like, just certain things, like, you need to...
Yeah, and this is probably something that, it's like a hard pill to swallow, but guys, if your mom or anyone in your family says, like, I don't really trust that person, I don't really think you should have them around, you gotta believe them. Like, you just have to, because they're never wrong. They're almost never wrong.
And in the moment, you probably won't understand that.
Never. I mean, when you used to tell me these things, I'd be like, no, Mom, you're so wrong. This person is blah, 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 and blah, blah, and they're the best person in the whole world.
And then years later, look.
Full circle. It's always a full circle. But anyways, next question. What are some of the things that you wish you did before I came into the picture? If you guys don't know, I kind of came out of nowhere. But say I didn't come out, like, what would you have done more of before me?
Gosh, I don't know, because I feel like I lived, like, a pretty full life before I had you. Like, I mean, feel
you
like
did a lot.
I traveled a lot. I didn't realize it at the time, but, like, thinking back, the opportunities that, like, came into my life at a young age, and I never said no to them, like, took me a lot of places. I did a ton of traveling. I knew at that moment I wasn't going to be going to college, so it wasn't like I regret that.
I was her little miracle.
Yeah, you were. You just, like, I really feel like you were, like, God sent you to me at the right moment in my life before.
He always does.
Probably, yeah. Like, I probably, like, 99% sure would have gone down a really bad path if, like, you weren't planted in me at that moment. planted.
I was planted.
You were totally
and
planted.
And then I blossomed.
Into this, like, beautiful, amazing thing, yeah.
Oh, gross.
And I used to just,
being
like...
so affectionate. No. You can't do that. You're going to make me all emotional. You're going to start crying.
No more tears.
No more tears, guys. It's been so
Guys.
funny. Every single time we talk about the V word. No, that sounds so bad.
That's...
The van. She starts crying. Like, I'll send her a TikTok of someone else's van. And she'll start crying. And you'll look over and she's just... tears coming down her eyes. She's more emotional than I am. I have kind of delayed emotions, so I tend to laugh things off, and when she cries, I laugh, and, you know, just...
I think that's why we do so well with each other. Like, I'm your rock, and you're my rock, because...
in different ways.
Yeah, like I'm emotional. Like, she's telling the honest-to-God truth. Like, I can't stop crying over the van. And she sits here, and she's like, it's happening for a reason. And I know that. But, like, we're going to get home, and she's going to be crying. And at that point, I'm going to be strong. Yeah. And, like, we're going to be, like, out of the happening. It's just, it's very interesting. Like,
how we work. Yeah. Our dynamic is definitely weird. But it's good, and it works. That being said, another question that a lot of people ask is, do you deal with anxiety, and do you struggle with these things? And the answer is definitely yes. I mean, we both do. Everything that I struggle with, I got from her, so I know she feels it too. And I think that we actually help each other get past being anxious.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't really know how I deal with my anxiety. I kind of actually have been learning more from you over the process. Like, watching you go through it has taught me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Does it make you more anxious when you see me anxious? Like, is that a mom thing that happens? Like, when you see me struggling, does it make you struggle? Or are you more just like, all right, here we go again. Like, let me get her out of this. Like, I don't know if... I think empathetic is the right word. But do you feel the emotions that I feel?
I totally do feel the emotions I feel. But I, at that point, like, I kind of, like, put on my big girl panties and I turn into, like, mom mode of, like anxiety is taking over inside of me. But, like, I don't want you to know that. So I kind of, like, put on this, like, false face and are like, come on, this is what we got to do to get through it. Like, this is what we have to do. And I try to pick you up. But, yeah, like, I really want to, like, run around the corner and cry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I always, like, I don't want you to feel my insecurities. So as a parent, I've always tried to just, like, pretend like everything's fine. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we were talking about that literally the other day. Probably yesterday. Who knows what day. Yeah. Probably 2 hours ago, and it feels like it was last year. But you don't tell me that you struggle with the same things that I do in the hopes of it just having less of an effect on me, I think.
Yeah, because I don't want you to, like, how to explain it? Like, the insecurities and the stuff that I grew up with, like, I've always wanted you to be the opposite. So I've kind of, like, tried to train you or guide you or lead you to be, like, the polar opposite of the things that, like, kept me back. So, like,
gotcha.
For instance, like, dancing and doing things like that, like, I would never do that. Like, I'm very, like, oh my god, people are watching me, I don't want to dance. Like, I'm super insecure about that. And so, like, I would always push you to go dance, which is just so weird. Or, like, say you were, like, at a wedding, go out, Lex, go. And, no, I don't want it. Come on, you have to.
Yeah, because you were like, she can't be like me. No, get out there, go. Yeah. And I mean, I think that that's a good system and it works. And it's also just like, I mean, I honestly wish I knew that sooner, because it almost puts me at ease with the things I go through, because in a way, it makes me feel less alone, I would say, because I know where it's coming from and why I'm like that.
Right.
But I mean, now I do. Now I get it. But at a younger age...
Yeah, at a younger age, but, like...
I think that that's something that you do, almost, like, block off your emotions in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it definitely... If it's a mom listening to this, I think that as a kid, don't do that.
So, like, I should have talked about it with you a little bit?
Yeah, you should have been more, like... For me, if you were, like, go dance, I used to be terrified of that. I would almost want to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go.
Oh,
because
that's so interesting.
I mean, that also is kind of just the way my brain is wired sometimes, where it's like, oh, I want to, like, not impress my mom, but, like, make you proud, I think.
Right.
So then if you were like, oh, I used to struggle, I want you to go do it for me, like, to make, I don't know, I just think I would have
That's
done
so
it.
interesting, yeah. Like, I guess I need to hear that stuff from you, or I guess you need to hear that
I mean, it's
kids.
just, it's teaching each other, and I think the biggest takeaway from this whole podcast is just communication.
Even if it's awkward, like you just, like this is even awkward.
Oh, this
for
is
us.
so awkward.
This
like,
is
literally, we're staring at each other, talking to you guys, talking to this microphone, but you guys aren't technically here yet, so it's weird. And it's, speaking of awkward.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I don't even want to ask you these questions because they're just so awkward.
Oh.
And I know that a lot of people can talk about their mom with, like, the boys they've kissed, the boys they've, like, done stuff with, or just the people that they've done stuff with, but I don't really talk to my mom about that stuff. So you guys asked a lot of questions about it, and I think that that's something a lot of us don't talk to our mom about, so I'm going to do it for you. Okay, starting simple. When it comes to bringing someone home, like if I were to bring a guy home or have someone take me on a date, what are the automatic green flags? What are the red flags? And what is the, like, absolutely not, my daughter cannot hang around this kid?
Like, if he came to the house to pick you up and he didn't come knock on the door and he didn't come in to meet Daddy and I, that's a huge red flag.
And you would be like, I don't like this kid?
Yeah, like, goodbye.
Goodbye?
No way. Like, if you're going to take my daughter out and I'm going to trust you, you need to come inside and meet us.
Yeah.
And I know that can be hard because when you're like 15 or 16 and you like have this boy, it's
I get
embarrassing
nervous.
to you.
I mean, like when I was 15 or 16, I honestly wasn't really hanging out with boys, but I know that if I were to have been, I would have done it so sneakily. Like I wouldn't have wanted to be like, you have to meet my mom. Like actually, one time I went to the movies. This was like my first real date, and it was actually when I had my first kiss. But I went to the movies with this kid my freshman year, and my mom went to drop me off. And she was like, I have to meet him. And I was like, Mom, no, please, no. He was a year older than me, too. So he was like a sophomore. And I was like, Mom, no, please, you can't meet him. Like, I was so nervous just because, I don't know, it's such an uncomfortable thing. Like, having your mom meet the boy you're talking to, or having to talk to your mom about boys. And then, like, sometimes you don't even want to tell them you're going on a date because then they're going to ask you questions about the date. And I don't know. Why do we get so nervous to talk to our parents about boys? Or anyone, whatever it is.
But don't you remember, too, though, that you were so embarrassed that I wanted to meet him, but then his mom came out with him and met me?
Really?
Don't you remember that?
Not really,
yes,
actually.
She came out, and I got to meet her. And so then I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I like this family.
It really is just like a parent thing, like, that you just want to meet, like, to have that comfort, that face-to-face, like, I can actually trust this kid.
And I guess it's the same thing, though, like, even with a friend, not even a boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Like, so whenever you were going someplace, like, if you said, oh, I'm sleeping at so-and-so's house all the time, and you wanted to try to do that, like, I had to talk to the parent.
Yeah, and
like,
I would
had
get
to know the
so
parent.
mad at you.
You were so embarrassed.
Because for some reason, some of my other friends didn't do that. Like, their parents wouldn't call the other person's mom, but my mom was always like, what time are you going? Where are you going to be? Who's going to be there? What's the mom's phone number? Can I call her? Every detail. And at the time, I found it to be the most annoying thing ever, but I've grown to appreciate it so much just because even though I didn't realize it, she was keeping me out of so many bad situations. And I mean, I'm just grateful for it. So if you're at a point where your parents are like super strict, as much as I know that it could suck right now, and it probably does, a couple years down the road, you're going to be so grateful because I know that I am so thankful that I didn't end up on the path that I was trying to go down in high school, because there were certain people that I always wanted to hang out around, and my mom just, she knew. Like, she's like, I don't think this is you. I don't think this is where you fit in. And I never understood it until I did. And I've finally gotten to the point where I did. It was like I was in the happening at the time, and now I know the reason. Because she just led me in the right direction, and I think that that's really all our parents try to do.
Yeah, we try to protect you and keep you in that bubble. And I think another big thing, like with friends and situations with Lexi, was like keeping, you're like guilty by association. So like really making sure that you're hanging around with the right people. And with social media, even back then at the time, like, you know, posting pictures of the right people.
I wasn't allowed to have Snapchat.
No Snapchat, because you take a picture and then it's just like out there to the world. Like, I could never see it. I couldn't monitor it. So once I allowed, like,
and I was
Instagram.
Young, and, like, we are so young. Someone actually DM'd me the other day and was like, my mom won't let me get Snapchat. What do I do? I was like, girl, thank her. And I just kind of explained that, like, at the time, I mean, it was also when Snapchat first became a thing. So everyone was just, like, flirting with each other, doing, like, I don't even know. I mean, you guys are all basically about my age. I think about, like, when Snapchat first came out and how, like, people were. I mean, my mom just had good intuition and she didn't want me on there, and I'm thankful for how strict you were all the time.
I would go on, like, your friends' pages, like, with Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, look at what this girl's doing. Like, look at what you can like judge a lot by what people post and what people do. And I hate to judge a book by its cover, but it's kind of like what you have to do when it comes to who your child's hanging out with.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to be like that too. It's like, I don't want to judge anyone, and I think that wherever everyone is at in their life, they're on that path for a reason. But I know that personally that that's not where I was supposed to be, and I know that my mom was just looking out for me when she had all of those thoughts, when she told me I couldn't do things, and I've just learned so much from it.
I was always just looking out for you. Like, I just wanted to keep you safe. I never wanted you to struggle with anything else or deal with the consequences that you would, like, just making a bad choice, the consequences that come from it, like, that would have hurt me so bad. So I always wanted to protect you from anything bad happening.
And also, when we're so young, we don't realize how impressionable we are and how much peer pressure is an actual thing. And simply someone being like, oh, do you want to do this? It's not like they're forcing you to do it. You're just so young and you think it's cool that you just do it. And we don't think about it, and we don't think about things. And I remember I used to have, like, a Finsta, and you let me go to high school parties in, like, my senior year, even the end of my junior year, and, like, you knew that I was drinking every once in a while, but you made sure that I did not take one picture, I did not post one thing, and looking back, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't be here. Like, you just, yeah, I mean, like you said, you're just always protecting me. So just trust your moms, guys. Trust your parents, even when you don't want to.
And I think the most important thing, too, for you guys to realize is, like you have one reputation, and it's so important. You can't get a new reputation. So, like, the things that you do, even as a child, like, the impressions that you make on people, even if you're in high school, the impressions that come out, like, kind of live with you forever. Like, I think back to, like, high school of, like, you know, some girls doing certain things or guys doing certain things, and, like, those memories stick in my head to this day. So when I hear, you know, Joe's name, I think of
blah, blah, blah.
Whatever instantly. So that's why it's so important to, like,
just be good to everyone.
Respect your reputation.
Live with good intentions, and just be aware. I mean, most of you guys are probably my age, little younger, little older. Just be aware of what you're doing, what you're posting, who you're hanging out with. It all goes back to, like, checking your surroundings, keeping good people around you, because if you're in a room with 5 people who have a smoking addiction, you're going to be the 6th person to have that smoking addiction. I just read that in a book somewhere, but it goes the same thing vice versa. If you're in a room with 5 people who do community service every weekend, before you know it, you're going to be doing community service every weekend.
Right.
So just trust your parents, keep good people around you, live with good intentions, and I think that that's just a really important tip.
Yeah.
That we forget about all the time. I mean, even now, I forget to listen to my parents, and I forget that they're always right. Before I get into the spiciest question, I think that a question that was asked so many times was, what is the hardest thing about being a mom? Like, not to scare all of us who are eventually going to be moms, but what is the hardest thing? And also, I feel like as your kid, it'll be nice to know that, because it'll maybe change the way I act or do. Just, yeah. Go on.
Gosh, I think the hardest thing is, like, just watching you fail.
Watching you fail.
Like, watching you, like, trip and fall, because it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when you're a baby and you, like, trip and fall, it's like, as a mom, it just hurts so bad.
And it's hard because,
like, yeah,
you know,
like,
it has
you didn't
to
want
happen.
them to trip and fall. Like, that hurts when you scrape your elbow. And so when you get older, you, like, trip and fall in different ways. And
mental health, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it can be, like, from, like, heartbreak to someone, like, being mean to you or someone making fun of you, and that, like...
Are you gonna cry?
Oh my God, it could almost make me cry.
You already are crying.
You guys, I'm so emotional this week, like, I can't even, but that could make me cry. Because
There's
it's
the
the honest
tears.
to God truth. Like, watching those trip and falls.
See, you guys see what I'm saying? I laugh when she
can't.
cries, and she
And then
she
she's
cries.
making me laugh. But yeah, I'm glad the camera's off.
Yeah, we did turn the camera off.
Yeah. What's wrong with me? I, like, can't even take myself. Sorry, I'm not usually like this.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the same with anyone that you love. I mean, like with my best friends, for example, and my brothers and my parents, when I see them hurting, it's hard. So I can't even imagine the kind of level that would be on when when you birthed me.
Yeah.
I came, like, I can't even process that. Like, I can't imagine having a life inside of me for 9 months. Oh, another thing that a lot of people asked, how painful is it really to have a kid?
Oh boy. It is so painful, but I'm sure you've heard people say this. It's like you forget the pain, and most moms do it again. There's not
That's
many,
what I was
like,
gonna say.
You forget the pain because of love. Oh no, I could cry again. The love that is like when this baby is like
In your arms. I can't.
Oh my God, I can't even like wrap my head around it.
I have chills.
Just like the most amazing thing that you like literally forget everything that you just went through.
Is it like immediate?
Instant. Immediate.
then-
The first cry just like puts chills through your entire body that is like, oh my God, you're mine, and now I got to take care of you and protect you and give you the best life ever, and just...
Oh, I have baby
Yeah.
fever just from hearing that.
No.
Guys, I'm not having a kid anytime soon.
We don't even have a boyfriend.
We don't even have a boyfriend.
And if you're going to be her boyfriend, you better come knock on our door. And
Yeah.
come meet us.
Yeah. Green flags. Green flags.
Green flags.
Okay, also, going back to the birth thing, obviously you forget about the pain after you have the first one, whatever. When it comes, say you are having a second kid, it comes close to term, you're about to go to the hospital, whatever, you're going into labor, do you have that fear again of like the pain? Does it come back?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is it harder to have the second one than it is to have the first? And then, like, what about the third? Like, how was that?
Yeah, like, as you get closer to the end and you kind of get a little PTSD, it kind of comes back to you quickly. But then the same thing happens. Like, you just, like, go through hell and all the pain, and then you have the baby and you forget it again. But it does. You definitely have triggers. You know what I mean? Like, going to the hospital, I remember saying to Dad, like, oh my God, okay, now this is going to happen. Or, like,
Yeah,
because
it's
you
like
know.
knowing what's... I
Right.
mean, it honestly... Obviously, it's such a different thing. It's literally two opposite sides of the scale. But same thing, like, with my mental health, when I notice that when I finally get better, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I went through that. Like, I'm
Right.
so glad I learned from that. And I took those lessons. And I feel on top of the world. And then I can feel myself falling again. And I'm like, oh, no. And I feel like it's kind of similar to that. Like, when you know you're going down a bad mental health path again, you just...
Well,
It
that's
sucks.
it's with
and then you
anything
get back
in
to
life.
the top and you're like, oh, this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to learn from it. I mean, those are two completely different things.
No,
but
but
still.
with any kind of pain, like whether it's like a boyfriend cheating on you or something else happening, like when you're in that moment, that's like hardest pain and you're in the most hurt of your life, but like you're
Eventually,
going to learn from it,
passes.
or you're going to get this amazing baby from it, or whatever it is in your life, it's going to turn back into flowers. Like,
Yeah, and I think that is the one thing that keeps me like such a delusional optimist, is just that anything can happen and I'm like, oh, okay, it's supposed to happen. You know, my dream of owning a van just got crushed. Well, I guess we move on to the next thing and we figure it out. And it really works. As cheesy as it sounds, it literally gets me through every single struggle that I have in my life. But the thing is, you have to believe it. Like, you can't just say, oh, everything happens for a reason, but then in the back of your mind, you're not accepting it. You have to fully 100% all in, just accept that everything is happening for a reason.
but you're like super special in that way. Like, well, that's why you're doing what you're doing now. Like, you have a special talent to like teach that to people and make people understand that, because like,
But now you're gonna make me cry.
well, I mean, like, just, well, yeah, I might. I don't know. Like, it's just something so special, and most people, like, don't have somebody in their lives telling them that, or, you know, they're not believing it, but, like, you telling it and every day and instilling this into people's lives are gonna, like, change lives, because you do mine.
Like, stop doing this. Why?
But, like, you do. You, like... I'll be like going through stuff and I forget. Next thing you know, you're like just like blowing it off. Like, Mom, you're crazy. Come on, like, what? Let's just keep going. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
And-
it's definitely a blessing and a curse, because sometimes it's like I want to I want to feel more emotions. I want to be able to feel more things, and I just don't. But
I sometimes think you do, like you're missing that gene.
Yeah.
But it has to be there, and you eventually. The problem is you like you like do push it all like under the rug too much. I'm like, do you have any emotion? Like, you need to show something, but then you're dramatic.
I have like a build-up.
Yeah, it's like a build-up, and it's a total freaking break, and then we might deal with it for a little bit.
And then again, I go back to realizing, okay, it's happening for a reason. Yeah. Here's my breakdown. I'm accepting it, and I'm moving past it.
But you could deal with some emotions along the way. Like, it's important to deal with emotions. Like, it's okay to cry. Not like me. I've been a baby all week. But, like, it's okay to cry. Like, you have to, like, understand, like, that getting that out is refreshing.
And the thing is, I say that all the time. And I think that that's one thing I'm very hypocritical about is I'm like, talk about your emotions. Feel them. And it's something I'm working on. And I've told you guys that I work on it. But it really is so important to just allow yourself to feel the things. But know that it's happening. You're on the right path. And you're supposed to be feeling it, but don't do what I do where you put it off and then you eventually just have a breakdown and then tell yourself you can feel it. We just find the balance. Work on finding the balance. It's a journey that we're all on. I mean, none of us are perfect. We all have our different flaws, our different struggles, and I mean, me and my mom have similar ones, but still, we have totally different ways of navigating through our mental health.
Yeah, we do.
Which is just so interesting because everyone does. So, I mean, we could be saying stuff that might not resonate with you at all, or you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what happens to me, which I just think is so fascinating, how different we all are.
Yeah, we are.
But anyways, enough of the sappiness. I think both of us almost cried for a second there. We're going to talk about the S word. We're going to talk, I can't say it. Can you say it?
No, because like it's such a weird word to me. Like I struggle with that.
I don't like that word. Guys, I can't even say I'm on my period. Like, I can't even say that. So, we're going to talk about sex. But it was the most common question that was in the thing, in that little box. So many different variations of just talking to your parents about this. How to, tell them anything about it. How to ask to go on birth control. When you know it's right. So, I think that's the first question I have. Is like, as a female, when do you know when is the right time to have with someone? Guys, I literally can't even say the word. We need to get past that.
Okay.
Can we say it together on 3? 1, 2, 3. Sex.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. How do you know when it's the right time? What are the signs? What should you feel? How do you know?
Can you teach me? Because I don't know. No, that is
like when it comes down to the first time. I mean, obviously there's things like, you have to feel safe with the person. You have to make sure that no one's forcing you into it. You have to just make sure that you're ready. But like, what are other things to be aware of? Like, how do you know that someone's not just, think about like being a teenager. How do you know that someone's not just trying to get you to do that to please them? And how do you know that they actually want to be with you for more than that?
Well, I mean, I think like the first thing is like time for me. Like, you can't be with somebody for like a week or two, or dating somebody for like a month. And I know everybody might like laugh at me for like saying this, but like it's the honest to God truth. Like, I just feel like you need to be with somebody for
I
like
think the same way.
Long amount of time, because like you know how things are. The first couple weeks, everything is just like amazing, and a couple months in, but like 6 months in, where are you? You know, do you still love each other? Do you still like have fun with each other? Do you feel that connection?
To me, the thing is, it gets super messy and stuff, because I'm the same way. I think that I'm not going to do that with someone if I don't know that I'm going to date them, or I'm already in a relationship with them and I'm truly so comfortable. But a lot of people are not in that same boat because of the way that hookup culture has become. Like, you know how college is. I went to FSU for like not even 2 years, guys. But I've always told my mom that just the hookup culture there is literally you just go home with someone, you do that with them, and then you never talk to them again. And that's very common. And I think that obviously to each their own. If this part like doesn't resonate with you and you want to do whatever you want with your body, that's fine. Like, this isn't judging you. This is just, if you are younger and you do have these questions, just hear us out, I guess. Like, I mean, how do you avoid that hookup culture? Like, I wouldn't know. I had to leave the whole school. to get away from it.
Okay, so, like, I had, you know, like, through high school, we dealt with the same thing. This is, like,
Mm-hmm.
been the way it has been forever. Like, I had friends in high school, and, you know, we would all go out together, and they were, you know, hooking up with boys every night. And, you know, it'd be kind of interesting and funny because we would be, like, in a group, and, you know, there's, like, 3 girls and 3 boys, whatever it is. And they're like, oh, let's, you know, go home with them. And I'd be the one like, all right, I'm going to sit out back. And, like, it was so
No,
weird.
and that's how high school is,
there was,
too.
like, one of those boys, oh, well, I thought you were going to, like, hook up with me. They're all in the room hooking up. Nope, sorry, you picked the wrong girl. Like, that was just me. And I think it was probably a lot of me, like, probably being insecure with myself, too. That goes back to, like, a lot of the struggles. Like, I didn't, like, trust what... I don't know, I was just super insecure with myself and with my body and with just everything else. So I think that's, like, the way I dealt with it was, like, just didn't put myself in those situations.
No, and I struggle with the same thing. I think even now, like, I have this fear of intimacy just because I'm insecure about, like, that. Like, I don't know. It grosses me out. Like, I literally don't even think I've ever told my mom that I've had the S word before. But I mean, I think I was in like a 10-month relationship, but still, I never even got to a point where I was like comfortable. I was comfortable enough with the person that it was with, but still, just in general, I don't know.
No, but I'm still the same way. So it's interesting. It's just still like the way I am as a person, even though I've been like almost married for like 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just crazy. I think everyone is just like different. I just like, if I could tell anybody, just like respect yourself as much as you
just
can.
Trust your gut.
Trust
and
the
you can't
person
let
you're
people
with, like,
convince you of things. And obviously, easier said than done. But know your worth. Know like what you really stand for. And if you genuinely feel like this is someone who is going to be with you in the long run and who loves you for more than your body, then I think if you feel ready, you're ready. It doesn't matter how long that is, but you have to trust your gut. If you're just doing it to just please this person, and if that's why they love you, then I hate to say it, but they don't.
Right. And you're only going to feel worse about yourself later. It's going to come back and you're going to kind of...
It always does. And it's just... You just have to know yourself and to like... Really
just know how much you're worth. Like, you have one body and you need to love it and take care of it.
The way I see it is like... Your body is a temple.
Yeah.
And the only people who are going to be allowed into that are the people who worship you and who are going to see you at your worst and still be there. Not just... when you're at your best. And it's sometimes just such a hard pill to swallow because there's people that are like that we don't want to like let go of. Like if you have a crush on someone and that's all they want to do with you, you choose to believe that they want more than that.
Right.
But I think that deep down we always know. And instead of just finding our self-worth and like tuning into that like that feminine energy, I don't know. You just we're all people pleasers sometimes, and we just have to learn to put ourselves first and to love yourself and to be very aware of who you're allowing into you, literally. I didn't even mean for it to be like that. I just meant, ugh. Anyways.
Oh boy.
Anyways.
Oh boy.
Okay, so all of that being said, if I were to ask you, like, and tell you that I wanted to go on birth control, what's the best way for me to do that? I mean, when I actually did go on birth control, it was literally just because my best friend went on birth control and her mom was a nurse, so I think she just got it for both of us. And I literally wasn't even sexually active. I'm not on birth control right now because I'm also not. But what is the best way for me to ask you if we were to be back in that whole same position? Because a lot of people don't know how to ask their mom.
I think it's probably like the hardest thing to ask because
I got lucky. I think I tried to ask. I wanted to go. Well, also, I'll be honest.
Why did you want to get on birth control?
I wanted to go on birth control because I wanted my boobs to get big.
She wanted boobs. That is exactly the honest to God truth.
And I would text her. Oh my gosh, guys! I would be at cheer practice in high school, and my friends would brag about how they were on birth control and their boobs got so big, and I was like, "Mom, please, her boobs got 2 sizes bigger," and I had no boobs, guys. But that was why.
I do remember that, and I didn't want to say yes to it because it's like, why put that stuff into your body until you need it? Like, I don't like medications. We're not like pill poppers in any way, and I really just, it wasn't a good reason.
And honestly, I think a lot of it, thinking back, is like, instead of wanting bigger boobs, I should have just kind of learned to love what I had. And I don't think that either of us realized that at the time. Like, that's not why she was telling me no.
Right.
And that's not why I just kind of made that realization right now. Like, you gotta love yourself for what you are, who you are. I mean, that's totally off topic of birth control, but anyways, just a little piece of advice.
But yeah, it's difficult because if you're asking to get on birth control, you're basically at the same time telling your mom that
You want to.
I kind of want to, you know that word.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as a parent, like, if you came to me and, like, I knew you were, like, had a boyfriend and you were dating for, like, a month or two and you came and asked, like, I would, well, what would I do? I would cry.
You would cry.
And then I would obviously put you on it.
You would be understanding.
Yeah, I would respect that you're coming to me, and as a parent, I would hope, other parents would, like, put you on it and, like, like, appreciate that your child came to you as hard as it is, because, like, it's the hardest
just, like,
thing
accepting
to
that
ask.
It's like when that happens, at that point, it's really like, oh, she's a grown up. Like, she's really getting old and she's not my baby anymore. Like, I feel like that's how I would be as a mom. I would be more like, oh, she's an adult.
Yeah, no, it's a hard pill to swallow. I mean, it really yeah, it is, but you can't, as a parent, you can't say no then, because, kids are always going to find a way to get things, or, imagine the consequences of saying no, and then your child, or,
and I mean, not even as a mom, if you're a kid listening to this, it's like, as hard as it's going to be, you have to, if you're going to do those things, you have to get on those things, because you don't want to risk what
it's an
could
adult
happen.
thing. You're making an adult decision to get in bed with someone. You have to make the adult decision to do what's right and protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a big girl thing.
It is. It's gross.
It really is.
I don't like talking about it, but I mean, it was the thing that people asked the most. So,
yeah.
I mean, we had to. Okay, so, I mean, that's really, I think, all we're going to get into on that topic, just because I don't want to talk about it anymore. But say, for example, someone gets their heart broken because they let someone take advantage of them. Really, just in general, the question is, do you have any tips on handling heartbreak? Because I'm not very good at this one, because I honestly can't say I've really had my heart broken. But I'm sure you're older than me. You've been through things. Like, what gets you past that initial heartbreak?
Yeah, heartbreak is hard, and I think, like, even like watching your kids go through it is, like, even harder. But I would say, like,
because we get so invested in someone else, and then
we do, and then it's like kind of like you feel alone. I think after is, like, a big thing. Like, if you spend a lot of time, like, with your boyfriend and you guys break up and you go through that heartbreak, you feel alone, which I think is what most people go through. So I would say, like, having a close community around you, like friends around you, like, try to, like, get out and hang out with your friends, go do fun things, hang out with your family, like, keep your mind busy instead of just, like, staying in your room and
because we isolate ourselves. I mean, same thing I've talked about in past episodes, and just in general, when we're going through rough patches, we completely disconnect, and it's the opposite of what we need to do. Even though it feels like no one can say anything that's going to make you feel better, they will. I mean, it might not feel like it in the moment, but just keep your circle close, and just know that if this person is meant to be in your life, eventually they'll come back around and they will be a part of your life. And it's really a win-win, because if that doesn't happen, then you're going to find someone better. You're going to find someone who's really meant for you and really loves you for who you are.
And I think something else important, like, along that topic is, when you are dating someone and you're in high school or college, whatever it is, like, don't lose your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and don't cut them off.
Like, that's what most people do. They cut them off and they have their boyfriend and that's their whole world.
I've been there. I mean,
guys,
I've seen
like,
it.
You need to keep your circle of friends no matter what. Like, that's so important. Do not ever isolate yourself to one person or one friend or one boyfriend. Like, you need to have a circle.
And don't lose yourself in a relationship. I think that's something a lot of people do, especially when it's so new, it's so fresh, you're so in love. You give your all to that person that you just lose yourself sometimes in the mix, and you change your morals and you change the way you think because of the way the other person thinks, and just be aware of that. be aware of who you are and who you want to be. And even through a relationship, you have to stay independent. You have to stay like yourself, because if you go all in and you give up who you are, God forbid something happens, it's that much harder to get through the heartbreak and to move on.
Well, I think I've always taught you that. Like, you need to, no matter what, be an independent woman. And that's a hard pill for, like, a guy to swallow. Like, in the beginning,
it's been a
too.
struggle.
Like,
I mean, with me, because
hard.
I honestly do it too much. And I think that that's why I've only been able to really have one long-term relationship, is I'm almost too independent. So life really is about balance. It all goes back to balance. But I like, can't see myself with a boyfriend, one, because it just feels like so much work. Number two, I'm so independent, and like I don't want to give my all to one person. So I guess if there's anyone else in that same boat, like, what are tips for me to like allow I mean, you know how I am.
Yeah, and I mean, I was the same way. Like, I'm like super independent and always had my job and support myself and this and that, and sometimes you have to like let your guard down a little bit, but I think that comes to trust. There's a part of like being so independent when it really comes to also trust, like trusting somebody with you. Like, it's a hard thing. Like,
It's
so you just
so
rather
difficult.
be like,
Yeah.
you know, put on like my Superman cape here and like be like, I can handle everything on my own, I'm so independent, instead of like at times like letting your guard down a little bit and letting that person love you and take care of you. Like, that's been a huge thing with like Daddy and I, you know, like just like learning to let him in.
I have an absolute shield up. Like, I know there's times I think about how much I want a boyfriend. Like, oh, it would be so nice to, you know, take really cute pictures with someone and like have someone love me and like go on trips together. But I just don't do that. Like, I don't know. Anyways,
because it's a hard thing.
We're all
sometimes.
learning.
Yeah, we are. Like, we're just like
every day
figuring it out.
We never have it all figured out.
I'm still figuring it out, and I'm old.
I mean, no, you're not old. You're just older than me.
Wiser. Actually, I can't say that with you because you're wiser than me.
No, we both are wise in different topics.
True.
We learn from each other. I mean, those were most of the questions that you guys asked, and I think that we covered a lot of things within answering those questions, but I think that this went pretty well, and we should do this more.
Like, I feel so comfortable. Like, now I could keep talking.
I know, but I feel like I can't think of anything else to talk. It did take us like an
hour. Look at the time. It took us a long time to like
really
just
long time
settle
to
in.
just get in the zone. But I do think that moving forward, when we do a part 2, this will be so much easier.
Yeah, but they might be like, get rid of that mom. We don't want her on there.
I don't think they're going to do that. Guys, please go hype up my mom, because now she's going to be all worried that you guys are going to hate her. She's the best.
Oh. No, that was fun.
That was fun.
It was fun, and I'll do it again.
It's honestly so weird, because while we are talking and while the mic is on, I feel like that there's actually people in here right now listening to us.
No, which is so weird, yeah.
Because there's
I feel like
literally
we're like on stage somewhere.
No, and there's no one in here.
We're in the car.
This is just a speaker.
It's so weird.
But it's really
a surreal
not,
feeling.
because I know that it's going to reach you guys, and I think that after the first episode of that happening is why I now feel like people are in the car, because, guys, I don't know. My brain works really, really in weird ways, but I mean, this podcast is going to be fun.
But, like, we did it.
We did it.
Are you proud of me?
I'm so proud of you. Guys, we've been meaning to... Well, first of all, we've had some, you know, actual difficulties in why we haven't recorded. But also, I think we were both just pushing it off because we were nervous. But give me a high five.
We did it.
We did it. And we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
And I can officially say I had my first guest on the podcast.
You did.
And it was my mom.
And I'm so honored. It was me.
It was my mom.
Yes.
And we were recording. The camera died kind of 5 minutes after we started. So really, I think all you're going to see on TikTok is our bloopers, but they're probably funnier than everything
really
else
funny.
anyways. So before we end this off, Mom, what is one last piece of advice that you have for everyone my age? And honestly, anyone who's listening, just one tip.
Probably to continue to chase those dreams, to be like a dream catcher, to always, like, I've always come up with these like crazy ideas in my head, and I want to like take over the world. And I think I've always told you, just like anything you want to do, you can do it. And like, you're lucky, like, you have the support of me to be as crazy as you are.
My
but
mom's
like,
my literal hype man, and I can tell her that I want to run across the country and buy a van, and even if it doesn't work out, she still supports me.
Like,
we learn from it. And And every single time it works out. So don't give up on your dreams. Everything is possible. I never imagined to be recording a podcast in the car with my mom, and I don't think she did either.
No, like, never. I can't even, like
helping
talk
all
in
these
front of people. Like, this is my biggest insecurity. And this is the crazy thing. Every insecurity that I've had in my life, my child, for some reason, makes me, like, have to live it and get through it. Like my mom, grandma, Mimi, like, watching that, like, everybody knows I can't even, like, talk on camera. I can't do things. And, like, you are making me do that.
I'm breaking your shell.
Totally.
I'm like, get out, get out, get out.
But this is all I say is, like, chase your dreams. I have Dreamcatcher tattooed on the back of my neck. But, like, I can't do it myself because I get scared. But I get to, like, do it through you and live through you. And, like,
well, we get to do it together.
Well, we're doing it together. Like, yeah.
So it doesn't, just don't give up.
Just follow those dreams. Chase them.
Chase those dreams, girl.
Yep.
Chase those dreams. What the heck? We're going to end off on that note. We answered most of the questions you guys had, and we will do a second one if you guys want it. If you want to hear my mom talk more, we're so down to do it. I think we're pros now. But I love you guys, and I'm really excited for next week's episode. I think it's going to be probably the most personal I'm going to get because it's something I just went through, and it sucked. But you know what? We're vulnerable. We go through the moments together. That's why this is called Moments. But I love you guys, and I hope you're smiling, and I will see you next Monday. I love you. You're the best. Okay, bye.